Okay, so I'm going to make you a quick video on how to wire your MPPT solar charge controller properly. If you hear any noise in the background, that's my printer printing. It is thinking very hard on how to print a simple photo. It's a bit complicating. There's quite a lot of photo data to be printed. But what we want to look at is the 6 screw holes that you have on the front. Positive and negative. So the first one is known as PV. Well, most of them have got the label for PV, which is photovoltaic, which is just a type of panel. So that will generally have a little wee rectangular thing like this, and it will have what would look like to be a solar panel drawing. Okay, so that will have on the back of it either bare wires or some certain connectors, which I'm not going to draw because I'm not an artist, called MC4s. Now they're simply, if they're already made up, it's great because all you have to do is just plug them in. And then all you have to do is wire them to the back. Now, I recommend using some of these here. These are called wire ferrules. You can also get them in different various sizes like this. Some blue ones there. And some very small ones that I use for data. I've got a more advanced charge controller on the way, which allows me to trigger a generator if my batteries run too low to give them a boost charge. But what I'm trying to aim for is at least 20 days of solar backup. So if the panels were to go down in a storm, like if we had to have, because we get quite big hail in Ashburton, that I'm able to disconnect all the panels using the solar disconnect. So I'm going to grab a small cable here as an example. So all you do, you can get these off AliExpress for like a few dollars. What you do is you pretty much just pop it over the end there, and then you have a wee hand tool to crimp it. Right, I just had to fetch it out of the toolbox. You get a little wee crimp tool like this. And that just stops all these loose fray wires from getting into any of these other connectors where it would cause problems. Now these are called Phoenix connectors. Most Phoenix connectors have a removable block terminal that would have a few screw holes in them. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to apply a ferrule. You don't have to do this, but this is my preference. And then you just grab, blimey, that was quite a heavy one. And see, like that, that's a really strong connection right there. And then what I do is grab a small set of pliers. I know they're dirty and rusty. I've had these since I was a teenager. So I've had them for about half my life. What I do is just snip the ends off. That's really hard. That's a good connection. It's a bit of a mess doing it, but there. It kind of just cleans up the end a wee bit. So this is tin cable. You can see the copper in the middle, but it was silver on the outside. So get rid of that. And then all you would do is from the PV panel, so let's just imagine this is an MC4, you click them together, you put the positive in here, and then I have a blue cable here we'll use as the negative. So that will go to your negative side of your panel, like so. Now this one here will have a little wee symbol like this, where that's kind of a darker shade, and it's got 2 little wee things up here. That's to go out to your battery. So that just connects to positive and negative. More than likely, you'll probably be using an AGM deep cycle battery, which stands for, I think it's absorbent glass mat from memory, or acid glass mat. AGM, sorry, I'm just looking at Google because I can't remember whether it's acid or absorbent. Yeah, absorbent glass mat. Thought so. So they have they're the better versions of the lead acid ones. So they go to positive and negative. Now, if you're using big heavy duty cable and like larger installations, you get a big crimp tool. But with this one going to the battery, you want to just get eye lugs like what you have on your car, and you just want to bolt them onto the posts. And then the final one would be a sort of light bulb looking one, which is your load. So this is battery, this one is load. So the load goes out to your inverter. Please make sure that it is a pure sine wave, because modified sine wave can actually do more damage to your appliances like cell phones, laptops, iPads, TVs, Freeview boxes and things like that. That's where it can do a lot of the damage, because the circuitry in it is sine wave comes up like this, and they have a circuit that modifies it. This pure sine wave one, I'm not going to go into detail because that's kind of a bit confusing for a lot of people, but pure sine wave, so a modified sine wave, it is generated internally, where a pure sine wave uses a transformer sort of a thing. So from your battery, you want to go to connect to your big AGM battery, so use that as an example. So from your charge controller, you connect the negative to negative and the positive to positive, all right? And then the load connects down to the inverter, and you can just unscrew these, take them right off, and they'll be pretty much like a screw, where you just slide your eyelets over it, and then you tighten them down. You can go to an electrician, say, hey, look, I've got this small thing here, small job that I want done. I just want a couple of crimps put on this. I can do like shout your lunch in exchange, or I can flick you a few dollars for your time. It will literally only take him about 5 minutes of his time, maybe 10 if he's a bit older, because he want to do it properly. So what he'll do is he'll strip them back properly and use a hydraulic tool to crimp them down. So that's pretty much how you wire up an MPPT. A lot of the smaller ones will have 2 USB ports. So there's a little wee inverter that will take the 12 volts off your battery and convert that down to 5 volts at a couple of amps to charge a phone. These ones here are a lot for small campers and that sort of thing. Most of the one I'm putting in to my solar setup is either going to be one of these ones or a Victron one, which allows me to connect heaps and heaps and heaps of power. So yeah, the standard package for $18,000 comes with about 5 days of battery capacity. But as I save up money and collect more, I want to have at least double to triple or even quadruple that amount, just so I have heaps of power. And I'm only going to be using those kits at tiny home. Then it's just going to be my wife, myself, and my son. But this is pretty straightforward way of doing it. So your PV is your solar panel, your BAT is your battery, and then your load is going out to that. So what you can do, I'm not sure whether it will do it through this LCD menu, but it may do when the battery drains to a certain voltage, it will cut that off, which would stop this running. Some of these actually come with a control module that will plug into the front that will have a voltage detection. It will cut themselves up, but never wire it directly to the battery because you could drain it too low, which could do some damage. So that's how you wire your solar charge controller. Make sure you try and get some ferrules if you can. Some electricians may already have them. They're like 1/10 of a cent. So I got this whole pack here and this crimp tool for about $15 from AliExpress, and it's the best thing that I've purchased from there. All right, that's me. Over and out.